Revocade fail. Cheap Legacies, the Blitz non-reviews, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2's pending pre-orders. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Another episode of This Week, the show where we talk about what happened last week, and we look forward to what is going to happen next week. And that looking forward is going to be extra special for me because we're going to have some fun next week. We're going to have a lot of fun, but listen, we're going to get to that in just a second. Right now, I want to say hi to everybody in the chat, and I want to call your attention to the poll. So we've got a poll, and it's up now. I was having a little trouble last night with the poll. I had to keep posting and kept failing, but finally it was able to post. This one went up pretty easy, and it's a simple question. I think it's a simple question. Maybe it's a little more complex than I'm giving it credit for, but the question is this: when purchasing a new cabinet, how much do reviews factor into that decision? You're going to buy a new cabinet, I don't care who makes it, and what percentage, I guess, would the review factor in? Now, I don't think any review is going to be 100% because there's other factors like cost, and space and all those other things, right? So the choices are 75%, meaning very, very, very important. I'm almost never going to buy a cabinet without, having some kind of review, right? 50%, which means it's about half. It's still pretty important. 25% is like, I definitely want to see a review for sure. Maybe before I make my final decision, I'll watch one review, but so it's a factor. And then you have another option of 0%. I don't care about any of the reviews. I know what I want, and I'm going to go get it. So let your voices be heard. We already got 43 votes in there. It's really, really important. It's really going to pertain to one of the topics we're talking about tonight, which I think it's got a little more weight than people are maybe giving it credit for. They're kind of maybe not seeing the forest for the trees, if that makes sense. So we're going to get into that tonight. And what else? There's another thing that I'm going to get into tonight, and it's a bottle. It's a bottle of bourbon, of course, as always. Cracked a new one. Didn't finish the other Calumet Farms yet, but I saw this on sale, and I had to get it. This is on Maker's Mark. This is their 46, but this is the French oaked, which is just like regular oaked, except you use your tongue. Anyway, so that's. I can't believe I just said that. What is the difference? I don't know. French oak barrels, I think, is the difference there. So that's what we're going to do tonight. What is the flavor? What is the taste? Does it kick? Well, a little bit. So over the rocks, sitting in the glass for probably 5 minutes. So I got a little bit of meltage going on. It's warm, but it's not harsh, it's not abrasive. And I got a little bit of something coming afterwards. Not bad. No, not bad at all. Sometimes the makers can be a little bit harsh, a little bit aggressive. You take that drink and it's okay, but then it comes on really strong afterwards, and it discourages you from taking another drink. So this is not the case. Wow, that's actually really good. Okay, so the French oaked it's really good. So check it out if it's on sale in your area. I think it was $40 on sale. Normally like a $60 bottle. So not bad at all. Let's give that another drink. Congratulations, makers. I might have a I might have a batch that I'm interested in. That's awesome. So you know what I'm drinking. You know about the poll. Let's say hi to everybody in the chat. I hope your weekend is going well. For us that are living in the States, this is Labor Day weekend. So that basically means that we have Monday off. So we have tomorrow off. So if I get a little long-winded tonight, it's because I don't have to work tomorrow. But what is Labor Day? I had to look it up. So the holiday is rooted in the late 19th century when labor activists pushed for a federal holiday to recognize the many contributions workers have made to America's strength, prosperity, and well-being. Thank you, Google, for saving me. So that's what that means. Labor activists. Anyway, it's a great way to kind of mark the end of the summertime. We have the 4th of July that sort of kind of kicks it off. It actually comes a little bit later. I think summer definitely starts before the 4th of July. But that's the way we kind of mark the beginning of the summer. Labor Day kind of wraps it up. We're going into the fall season. And the weather, for the most part, for me, in my area, was pretty good. We had some scattered showers, a little bit of rain, but the sun came out. It was nice. I got all the mowing done. The kids came out. We threw the ball around. We had a little bit of bourbon, some beers, and had a good time. I hope everybody else is enjoying their Labor Day vacation, Labor Day weekend, or if you're not in the States, just enjoying your weekend overall. Let's say hi to everybody in the chat. Man, a lot of people coming in. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It's really awesome. Miss Harris says, hello. What do you think about the micro pinball from At Games? I jumped on it but no, maybe I'm worried that I move too fast. With that games, that's a legitimate concern. But I think if you're familiar with their ecosystem, um, price notwithstanding, you probably know what you're going to get, a miniaturized version of their, of their Legends pinball machine. That's about all I know about it. I mean, and P-Dubs and others have talked about the fact that there's been sort of a lack of footage. There's been no review units. There's been really a lack of just video of the thing you're going to be buying. So, I think you're probably okay. I think you're probably okay, but I understand some of your trepidation. Thank you for coming by, checking out the channel. I always love seeing you, Miss Harris. Great to see you. David Deming says, where's the cheap Legacies at? We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that because that's really, really, I'm excited. I'm probably more excited about that than I should be. NPC 5120. Hey, Fox, thinking about getting Ridge Racer, so I can't join the show tonight. Working all Labor Day weekend to get that sweet MVC2 and Blitz money. I respect you. Get that holiday pay, get that money, because listen, these cabs, well, they are getting cheaper. Actually, if you wait, and listen, good things come to those who wait. If you don't want to jump on some of the pre-orders, don't worry. You got dummies like me. They're going to do that for you and let you know what to think about it. But as we've seen over the Labor Day weekend, you've got some incredible deals, not just at RK1UP, because, unless you spend, I think it's $5.99, you're not going to get that free shipping. Best Buy, everybody else seems to be having some sweet deals. Check out my community posts and others within the community that are just throwing these deals out there. Check Best Buy, Walmart, everybody is having some really good deals. So if you decided to wait a year for some of these cabinets, you're smarter than I am. You're smarter than I am. J-Man, I wanted both T2 and Ridge Racer, but now that Blitz and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 are coming, those I want more decisions. Listen, why not wait? I know there's a little bit of FOMO going on. I know there's a little bit of, hey, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 may not be available. I think that might be legit because of the broad reach of that cabinet. So maybe that's the cabinet that, you might want to pre-order. Blitz, I think you can probably hold off on that one. I think you can probably hold off. Is it going to be another NBA Jam situation? Probably not. I think Blitz is much more, you can see the marketing push. They're really pushing this cabinet, but I don't think it's going to sell out. But I could be wrong. Kings of Cobra, what's up, brother? Fox, couldn't miss you 2 Sundays in a row. Hope all is well. All is well. Thank you for stopping by, buddy. I'm glad. Come on, we can't go 2 weeks without spending time together. Come on, it's just not right for the relationship. It's not healthy. Not healthy at all. Big ED's Arcade says 43 minutes early. 43 minutes. I'm honored. What did you do for that 43 minutes? I hope you poured yourself a damn drink and kick back and relax. We're gonna have fun tonight, but we're gonna get to some. I think we're gonna get heavy. We're gonna get a little bit heavy. Ashley Bradley, how are you? Hi, Fox. Fire is the emoji. I appreciate that. I appreciate the fire. The fire is always good. Ton of you in the chat. Music Mike. Hi, everyone. How you doing? JJ, see, I told you I'm streaming tonight, buddy. Revocade looked like a cheap, lightweight, plasticky toy with cheap add-on components. It looked like aggressive gameplay would break the joystick and wheels, etc. It would just destroy it. Your testosterone, your adrenaline got to pumping when you were playing your game, and you would just rip the Revocade apart. Possibly. But some other people have actually given some pretty decent reviews. So it's kind of, well, you know what? We're going to get to that in a second. We're going to get that in a second. But listen, Console Kid says, can't wait to see you soon, Fox. We are spooning. What? We're spooning with Mike B. You said you wouldn't say this out loud. Come on, man. Come on, dude. You don't tell everybody that. I'm really excited. I cannot wait to see everybody. It's going to be awesome. And not just these goofballs that I stream with, but some of you in the community are also going to be there as well. Haha. He said poll. I did. I said poll. Oh, man. And another thing I said was hi to Ezekiel, Chicago Retro Ranger, with $5 coming out hot. What's up, brother? Nice shirt. I see you. I'll see you in a few days. Cheers. Absolutely. See you in a couple days. Cheers, indeed. I'm going to take another swig because the throat is a little dry. That's not bad. That's not bad. I know I say that probably every week, but that's not bad. The percentage of alcohol in this is kind of high. Actually, it's 47%. Usually, 45 and below is what you kind of want to shoot for if you're trying to stay off the throat. But man, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, buddy. I really do appreciate it. And not to be outdone, let me go ahead and scroll down because I believe we have another $5. Uh-oh, 1 cent more. He's got you, Ezekiel. Kings of Cobra says, "What's up, brother? Happy Sunday. And when's the big shindig in Chicago? I'd love to join all my internet friends." We're going to go over that a little bit at the very end of the stream. I have a loose schedule for you. I have a kind of a loose schedule for you, places where we can all meet up. You're going to have to, I think I'll tell you right now and everybody else in the stream, pay attention to my social media. If you want to know where I'm going to be at, I'm going to use Twitter somewhat. Instagram, I like to use a lot. It just seems to be a better platform, but I'll try to use both just to try to say, hey, listen, this is where I'm going to be, roughly here, roughly there. We got a lot of crazy stuff planned. We're going to have Kong B with Kongs R Us. From the Kongs R Us channel. He is going to be the work wife. He's going to keep us all on track. He's got our schedule down. Thank God, because I would probably just schlub around all week and be like, I don't know. What do you want to do? Oh, what do you want to do? And it would have been just a disorganized mess. Chaos would ensue. Cats and dogs would indeed be living together. And we can't have that. So many people in the chat. Man, thank you so much, everybody, for stopping by. This is awesome. Dr. Z? Dr. Z says, Fox, bring this 6-player X to Chicago. You got the players for that now. I do. Damn. That would have been an awesome video. That would have been a great video. Bring that bad boy to Chicago in the place we're staying, and we all just play. That would have been sweet. Maybe you know what? Maybe that'd be really cool. If I could swing that would be absolutely awesome. Anyway, so we've gone over the poll. I said poll again. Look at that. We know what I'm drinking. Hopefully you're drinking something. Kick back, relax. We talked about this. We talked about that. Now let's talk about the next thing. Revo no mo. That's right. The Revocade is gone. It didn't get funding, and it's you're gonna have probably a mixed bag of emotions, a mixed bag of opinions. Some people loved it, some people hated it, some people were, well, evidently a lot of people were just sort of indifferent to this thing altogether. And it's kind of a shame because I was really, really digging the idea, the concept of swappable decks. I've talked about this a lot when you're talking about iArcade, and even, early in the early days of Arcade 1-Up, obviously they're not going to go that route. But the fact that they missed it pretty substantially. Now their pledge goal was, $200,000. They had to have that. 43 backers were the only ones that came through, only netting about 20 grand. So just a smidge above 10%. That's not good, guys. That's not good at all. It's really kind of a shocker to me, because I thought that there would be more interest in something like this. But you gotta be realistic. There's so many things that you can get from AliExpress and these eBay retailers and Amazon, where you can get something similar to this, probably similar build quality. I think the niche or the deciding factor for me was, or the thing that let me phrase it this way: the thing that sort of piqued my interest when it came to Revocade was the swappable decks and the way that it was fairly simple. I mean, you didn't have a bunch of cables you had to screw together. It was a simple locking mechanism. Now, could that sort of come loose over time? We had a comment already talking about, hey, this looks like plastic crap. I'd probably rip it apart. I don't know about that, but I think that it's probably a legitimate concern when you have just these plastic retainers kind of holding that those decks, those control panels in place. That was definitely a concern, but it could have been something really, really cool. I love the concept. Absolutely love the concept. But the execution, well, we don't really know because it really never got backed. They did send out a few review units, experimental prototypes that I think Justin over at Console Kits was able to get his hands on one, and it just didn't happen. It just fell through. And there it is. So unsuccessful, only netting about $20,000. So what do you think about this? Now, I think that there's still some validity to this concept, but it's going to have to be something a little bit more established. I think if you're talking about iArcade, they're trying to be the one-stop shop, the one console solution, the one cabinet solution. I think that they should really give this a lot of consideration. They've definitely made some steps, some strides forward. This is why I got their gold cabinet. When they took all the guts out of the control panel and actually moved it to the back of the monitor. And now we have this control panel, which is really just I/O. It's just inputs. It's all it really is. And then we've got those USB ports on the front. they're making some strides. They're moving in that direction. Now, will we have another iteration of their cabinet that will incorporate this? Is it something they even care about pursuing? Do they want to move in this direction? Or is it just going to be, hey, this is what it is. We'll have a couple ports on the front. Hopefully we can add some light guns and maybe some trackballs, and but that's just, it is what it is. I think that there's definitely, listen, you're talking about more purchases, right? How are you going to get us to go back to iArcade and buy more stuff besides your games? Different control panels. And not everybody's going to want separate control panels for separate games. Some people are going to be really, really, really into driving games. Some people are going to be really, really into fighting games or shooters or what have you. And they're going to want to have that. I mean, I would love to have something that maybe it's just a few screws. The 2 screws are on the side of the control panel, to just undo those and take that out and then plug in your other control panel, and away you go. That would be really cool. Now, there's a lot of buttons on top of your iArcade. If you're looking at your control panel, that top row, it's all like volume control, menu options, that kind of stuff. It would be nice and really encouraging if I saw that panel was separate. And, so maybe 3/4 of the actual control panel would be what you would swap out. Maybe a short dock connector, some kind of a cable, maybe just a ribbon cable would have been fine. And then you take that out and put in the other control panel. So basically you would maintain all your menu options, your menu buttons, your headphone jack would be stationary on the cabinet. And then what you're swapping out is about 3/4 of that control panel. That would have been really cool. I think it's still something that maybe they could do. Maybe that's an option. You can keep it just like it is, or you can get the upgraded control panel and it's split, and there you go. But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's too much money. Maybe it wouldn't interest anyone. You're talking about a lot of money, some development costs. And then, to make a couple of these, get them out there, maybe get some people to review those and see if it's really worth it. Would it be a Kickstarter? Would it be something maybe you have to pre-order? Maybe you have to pay a bunch of money up front. I don't really know, but I think that the concept has a lot. I think it has validity. I think it definitely has a place. If you're talking about the differences in the companies, they couldn't be more different. They couldn't be more stark. They couldn't be more drastic. RK1UP wants you to buy just a ton of cabinets. Guilty as charged. iArcade doesn't want you to do that. They want you to buy one cabinet and then go back to them for the games. And now, presumably, they want you to go back to them/Glenn to get your accessories. Why not have them say, hey, now you can also get control panels from us to really heighten that experience? Shooters, drivers, what have you. Control panels set up specifically for that. Trackballs, whatever. Spinners, you name it. To have that I think that would be legit. I think that would be really awesome. And I think for those that are really tight on space, trying to make the most out of their arcade experience, trying to get the most out of it, unique controls for those games, I think that's the way you go. So while we can mourn the loss of Revocade, it's definitely it's gone but not forgotten. At least the concept of swappable decks. And what else is what else is not gone, not forgotten, and making a huge impact? It's Maximum Low Blow with a $20 super chat, man. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Sundays are my Fridays. No better way to end the week than listening to this show on the drive home. Keep up the great work, Fox. Listen, you keep your hands at 10 and 2, and I'll be there for you. Wow, that needs to be a bumper sticker. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Really do appreciate it. So yes, the concept is, I think the concept is alive and well. While this product may be dead, there is hope on the horizon for any company who may be willing to take a chance and really invest in this expansion of their product. Now, is that something you want to buy? You want to buy into? You want to put your hard money up to support? Well, when it comes to the Revocade, they definitely fell short. Cheap Legacies. Whoa, what is going on? Where did you see this, Fox? What's going on? Okay, I'm going to give you the skinny, but we're going to take a drink. We're going to talk about this because this is something I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to talk to you for real. I didn't think we were going to see this. With the Generation 1 Legacy cabinets, they were offered in 2 different configurations. Obviously, you get your full-on experience. You get the riser, the lip marquee, and away you go. You also had the horrible placement of that marquee. You had the not so great, not so ideal control panel. Level was definitely an issue. But you also had another version that had a standard marquee that was not lit and a absence of a riser, but at a pretty substantial price difference. I think it was about $100 off, if I'm not mistaken. Now you can find those first generation Legacies in that configuration. No lit marquee, no riser for like $200, $250. It's it's definitely pretty. It's a perfect. Wow, that is so unprofessional. Let me just turn that. I apologize for that. That was a notification. Got a text from my sister. She says, "Hi, how you doing?" But it was definitely a cheap way to get into the hobby, which I think is absolutely needed from Arcade1Up. The barrier of entry can be really intimidating, so it's really, really nice to have that smooth, simple, cheap transition into the community with something that's going to have, at this point, 14 games. Back then I think it was 12. So you have 12 games, and you had, you could start small, see if it's for you, and then work up to it, and they kind of get you hooked, right? The first one's free. Well, this one wasn't free, but it was cheap. Now we're talking about the current Legacies. Like I said, once again, I didn't think we were going to see them in this configuration, but this comes from Jonah Jagger. This was from the Arcade1Up, I think, Deals community group over on the Facebook group. Arcade1Up Deals, I think, is the name of that. And he said, listen, I saw these in my local Walmart. The Walmart he was at was in Illinois. I can't remember the name of the city. And going through the thread again today before the show, he did not say how much it cost. The price was not there. Obviously, if you go to the website, you're not going to find these. So when he tried to use the app on his phone to scan the barcode, he didn't get a price, and he wasn't really interested. So he didn't feel like, trying to find somebody, hunt somebody down and try to get a price. That's no problem. It's no big deal. So here's the boxes over on the left, the tall, skinny picture. That's the picture he took. It has the appropriate games list if you're looking at the Yoga Flame, which is the one I'm looking at. And then I blew up the picture on the bottom so you can definitely see this is going to be the version that has no riser. What's the price? What's the price going to be? This speculation time. Okay, let's kick it in. So right now we know these cabinets, Yoga Flame, and the Miss Pac-Man are $500. They're $500. $499. $499. What's the price going to be? Well, let's assume that we're not going to have a lit marquee. Let's assume that we're not going to have the riser, and that's a safe assumption because they're picturing this thing without a riser. If that's the case, I think $100 off is probably where this is probably going to land. $399, $400. Is that a good deal? So remember, back in the day, when we're talking about those first generation Legacies, you pretty much had a clear path. They had lit marquees available. Not exactly easy to find the Legacy lit marquees, but you could find Arcade1Up lit marquees. You could also go to different vendors. Angel over at This Ability was a great resource for lit marquees. You could find a lit marquee, throw it in there, and then just buy a generic riser, and away you go. It's really no big deal. This really wasn't a problem. If you wanted to take that path, a lot of people, including RGT85, he doesn't do a riser. He doesn't like them. He likes to sit down like a candy cab, and he likes to sit down and play these things. So he didn't even really want one. Okay, fine. That's no big deal. Great. So if you don't even want a riser, you're ahead. So then all you really, and you don't have to have anything, but a lit marquee, right? Get something and away you go. Here is the rub. Okay. Now, how is this going to be configured? The construction of those Legacies, it was different, right? You basically had the side panels sandwich just the marquee housing itself, whether that was plywood or lit. These are not the case. The MK Midway current style of Legacies, of this generation, it's not assembled that way. You have slots routed into the upper and lower panels, and then you slide in the marquee from the side. So does that mean are they going to come with lit marquees? So then really you're just getting a version without a riser? I don't think so. Here's what I think. Now, this is just, I have no idea. I don't have any other inside information, but here's what I think we're going to get. Obviously no riser, no big deal. But when it comes to that marquee, here's what we're going to get. Remember this guy named P-Dubs? Remember when he got his T2 cabinet, and he really didn't even want it, but his wife wanted it, so he got it. Remember when he got his marquee and it wasn't transparent? It had film on the back of it. It was just a marquee. It just looked, if you look at it, it was fine, but you couldn't shine any light through it. I think that's what we're going to get with these variations of the cabinet. Also, you're not going to have an LED strip behind it. I think that wood panel will still be there because it's a part of the construction of the overall cab, but I don't think there's going to be an LED strip. It's just going to be a blank piece of wood. And you're going to have that marquee that's not illuminated. It's not clear. You can't shine light through it. That's what I'm thinking. Now, the good thing is they're not going to make a separate PCB that's going to omit that connection for the marquee, the lit marquee. So it's going to be the same PCB. So you can still go that route. But I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult to find a replacement marquee. You're not going to be able to just go to somebody and have, because what they do is they'll actually make an assembly, a lit assembly that you would just swap out. This is really just one piece. So what you're going to have to do is have a piece of acrylic that's going to have the image, the exact replica printed on it, so that all you can do is you just slide that in. But I say all you have to do is slide it in, right? Well, you have to disassemble the cabinet too. So if you want to do this, the first thing you're going to have to do is buy all this stuff beforehand and put it in as you're assembling it, or assemble it, wait, find the parts, then take the cabinet apart again, put all these parts in, and then reassemble it, and there you go. It's a little bit of a pain. Remember those marquees on the first generation Legacies? You could swap those out. Fully assembled, there's really no big deal. A couple bolts on the side, maybe loosen up a few more screws, pry that apart and take it out, swap it out, and you're okay. This is much more involved. So if we're talking about a non-lit marquee as a way to distinguish this from the other version, it's going to be a little bit more involved. It's going to be a little bit more pricey. You're going to have to, get a LED strip with the right connector, and then you're going to have to get somebody to, probably somebody like Joe Sabo, who can actually print this out and then put it on a piece of plexiglass for you, and then you can slide it in place. Not quite as simple as we once thought. Now, I could be wrong. I don't make these marquees. It may be simple. It may be cheaper, but I don't know that it's going to be. But it's definitely going to be more involved. So that's where I think we're going to be at. You're going to have some kind of a marquee filler plate that's not going to be translucent. And you're not going to have the LED strip, obviously. No riser. But at $399, is that a good deal? Because I think what you are getting is the best shape that RK1UP has ever come up with, especially in terms of gameplay. When you're resting your palms, especially the way I have mine set up, and you're talking about that 4-inch riser that I have my cabs on, the palm situation. My wrists are not all cranked and twisted like Big Blue, unfortunately. Big Blue, good cabinet, but that was a problem. You're talking about a perfect angle. Very, very comfortable. We have a little confirmation right now. You heard it here, folks. First, folks, it's tape only. So it's just, what is tape? What are you talking about? You're talking about just tape? What do you mean? Explain, sir, if you could be so kind. Tape only. Not sure exactly what he's talking about. I'm assuming he's referring to the marquee itself. If it's just a piece of tape, maybe. I don't know. Maybe tape is covering it up. But I think that's what we're probably going to have with these two variations. We'll see. Hopefully, RK1UP, John D, maybe in the chat can shed a little bit more light on this, but I think that's where we're going to be at. You're going to have non-lit marquee once again, and you're going to have no riser. How's it going to shake out? You decide. $299 with no screws. Now, see, this is a great deal because who needs screws? You can go to Ace Hardware and get your own screws. Or if you're like me, I've got a container full of screws that I've just collected from all the little spare parts kits from all my different RK1UPs. So there you go. Confirmed $299 with no screws. It's a damn good deal. And thank you, John D, for that clarification. You liar. So I'm assuming that's what we're going to have. You decide if it's going to be a good, deal. Now, I think if you want Yoga Flame, get Yoga Flame for real. Pay $499 and get the full size version and get everything on it. But if you're a modder like this guy, this would be a great way to get a hold of a cab for the cheapest price possible. If you're not going to maintain that, if you don't want that games list, sell the PCB immediately and get some money. Get some of that coin back. You're not going to get all your money back, but you're going to get some of that back. And now you got a pretty damn good foundation for your next mod. So that's where my head is at. That's where I think the benefit's definitely going to be. But anyway, let me know what you think about that in the comments section. If you're watching this on the replay, or let me know what do you think about that in the chat. Is it a waste? Is it, yeah, I'm saving $100, but it's a pain because now I got to go get all this other stuff? Or do you just not care about the things you're going to be losing? You just worry about, the benefit of saving that $100. The Blitz non-reviews. Let's go ahead and take this down because, wow, what is going on here? So Blitz cabinets are out there, but supposedly they're not real Blitz or final Blitz. That's cool. Final Blitz. That's the next cabinet. Final Blitz. That'd be great. this is the Blitz the Revenge. So there's been a big push from RK1UP to get Blitz out there, to talk about this cabinet, to really push it, to tell everybody as much as they can about it. And for the most part, the website and the initial push by RK1UP themselves was very informative. They were very transparent. They told you how many, and we've actually talked about on the show a couple weeks ago. I laid out specifically, if you go to the FAQ on Blitz, it tells you exactly what is not there and what is there. So for the most part, you can make the best decision you possibly can. The confusion comes in when you have some other YouTubers out there, influencers, whatever you call them, getting these cabinets and doing what's considered by some, myself included, to be a review. And you're getting some conflicting information. These are not final versions, but they are. We're not sure. Some people says it's an unboxing first look, and that's one way to look at it. Okay. Some people are calling it a review. Not really sure. It's odd. It's confusing because we've had so much information put forward by RK1UP, pushing all that out. Now we see these cabinets out there. We're thinking, okay, here we go. Now let's get some other people's perspectives. But we're hearing that these aren't really reviews, but they're showing up in boxes with full packaging. From what I can understand, from what I can see, the boxes appears to be legit. Appears to be legit as far as the construction of the cabinet itself. But so it's a little bit confusing. So these are just first looks. Well, the question really becomes, how many first looks do you have? Really, first look is just like one. There's just one first look. And we got that. We got that with RK1UP Official, RK1UP Legit. Now there's some confusion. There's some confusion because some people are saying these aren't reviews. Well, it's weird. Okay, fine. But it's confusing to those that follow the channel, or those that follow the company, that follow the community, that follow this hobby. It's getting a little confusing because we're seeing things in reviews or non-reviews that contradict what we saw from RK1UP. One of the main things is the number of games that are going to be on the freaking cab. Now we're seeing in another video, somebody named Khan says that there's 2 games on it. There's just 2. There's Blitz and there's Blitz 2000 Gold. Or that's weird. We thought that there were going to be 3 games. Now there's 2. What's going on? Seems a little bit weird. But then there's this narrative out there coming from Official. John D said it himself. Hey, these are not reviews. Showing up in live chats, live streams, talking about, hey, listen, why are you saying that these are reviews? Well, the reason some people are saying they're reviews and there's confusion out there is because dudes like Conflicts are actually saying it's a review. It's an unboxing and a review. And the distinction, while I think very important, is kind of getting lost on me and others in the community. But what's really concerning to me is not just the fact that this is confusing for us, and we can probably chalk this up to, well, we're talking about a cabinet that's probably the final cabinet, but not the final build of the game. It's not 100% there yet. It's really confusing to people that you're trying to reach by using these different influencers. When you're talking about guys like John Hancock, is probably in the same space for the most part, but Conflicts, he's a SpongeBob guy. He's got millions of views on videos talking about SpongeBob, but he's got other cabinets in the past, and that's fine. To each his own. But I think that what you're trying to do, RK1UP, is reach a different audience or a broader audience. But what we've got now is some confusion going on. I'm not really sure what this means, and I think it's a problem. It's an issue when you are confusing the new audience you're trying to reach. Now, we care enough about this. We're in the weeds. We're the ones that are actually getting these things. I already got my pre-order in. A lot of people in this chat already have their pre-orders in. And I'm going to be honest, it was the freaking hat. You got me. It's the snapback hat. I'm like, I got to do this. I'm kidding. I mean, it's a nice hat, but it wasn't the only reason I got the thing. But we care enough about it to dig in, to watch all the live streams, to pay attention to Arcade 1-Up's every post, especially when it comes to Blitz, and try to figure all this out and understand, okay, I'm seeing this review as, the reviewer said it was a review, and others are saying, no, it's not a review. It's an early build. Don't pay attention. There's nothing behind the curtain. The great Oz has spoken. But it's confusing to the general audience. So we're keeping up with it. We're trying to watch it. We're getting some conflicting information, but we're going back to the FAQs on your website. We're trying to make sense of it because we got our pre-orders locked in for the most part. Some people out there, the new audience you're trying to sort of bring in, they're looking at this with some confusion, or they're not confused at all. They're looking at Conflix's review and he says, hey, there's 2 games on this. And they're thinking, wow, that's really cool. I like Blitz, but it's only got 2 games on it. Maybe I'll pass. Not knowing that, hey, there's actually 3. There's actually 3 games. What are you doing? Don't. So there's some confusion there. And they're just giving this a passing glance. They're not like you or I. We're, like I said, we're digging in. We're paying a lot of attention, trying to figure it out, trying to make sense of everything, because we've got our own money on the line. Pre-orders are in. We got to know everything about this cabinet. So you're confusing the new audience that you're trying to bring in. And that new audience, they're not going to follow up. The new audience is probably not going to dig in and go to all the other websites and look at all the other different reviews. They're going to probably see this because this is somebody that they watch all the time. They're going to see this as, okay, another thing. Hey, I like NFL. I remember Blitz from back in the day. That's cool. But they're going to see this, take everything this guy says as gospel because he's calling it a review. I mean, it's a freaking unboxing. He's taking it apart. He's showing you putting it together. He's showing the game. He mentions that it's not the final build, but how many people are actually going to pay attention to that? I mean, realistically, it's frustrating for us that are trying to get all the information we can because we're seeing the conflicting information. But for the new audience, that's all they're seeing. That's all they know. So they're just thinking, okay, well, this is it. Okay, well, do I want to buy this? Well, I don't know, probably not. They're not going to go to Arcade 1-Up's website and follow up. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're the new audience you're trying to capture. And you've got kind of a big hill to climb already because some of these, the hardcore, and I'll say this, the hardcore gamers, the arcade enthusiasts, the individual who is concerned about preserving the ROMs as they originally were back in the day, are already having a tough time with this, aren't you? I know you're in this chat and you're like, I don't know. I mean, they changed the game. Now, I told you that they made every single Arcade 1-Up has some concessions. They have some compromises that they've had to make. And I make my decision based on, okay, compromises were made. Am I cool with that? And I make my purchase. When it comes to NFL Blitz, I was so excited about it. I said, as soon as they announced it, or as soon as we saw a leak, the GameFly leaks, I was like, I'm buying this. Seeing what I saw, knowing that it was a different version, I was still okay with it. But not everybody else is okay with it. Not everybody else is stomaching this. This is sort of a tough pill to swallow for a lot of different people. And it's more than just late hits. It's a different version of the game. So they don't really know what they're getting. So these reviews are very, very important. These first looks are very important. And when you're talking about different builds, different content within those games, it's very confusing. We're not talking about final edits, final graphics, fine tuning some things, tweaks here and there. We're talking about omissions of games. Kind of a big thing. It's something you really have to contend with when you're talking about putting something in the hands of reviewers or first lookers and they don't know what they're doing or they're not that invested in the product. Now, this is not me advocating for me to get a cab or really anybody else to get a cab. What I think, honestly, at this point, Arcade 1-Up made such a great push, a great first foot forward, they didn't even need to send these cabinets out. I don't think they did. You had the buy-in with the NFL. You had Dan freaking Marino as part of your marketing push. I mean, come on. You've got Brett Favre on the side of the freaking cabinet. I mean, you've got Deion Sanders primetime himself involved. I don't think you needed to do this because now what you're doing is you're muddying the waters. You kind of had, I think, probably the best start that you could have had for the small company you are, for the product that you had, which is a different version of Blitz. It's not the same as the original arcade version, but you put that out there in the beginning and people could make their decision. And the reason why the hardcores are wrestling with this is because you were upfront and honest and you were like, listen, this is different. but here's what we changed. Now you got to make your decision, and we're wrestling with this. But the new audience you're trying to capture is not going to do that. They're not going to wrestle with it. They're not going to follow up. They're not going to they're not going to go back to your original listings. It's not going to happen for the majority of those new audience. Now, there's some, I'm not going to say I can't deal. I'm not a Sith, so I don't deal in absolutes, which is also an absolute. George Lucas messed that up, didn't he? He didn't think that went through. But I think you're talking about a situation where, I mean, you're requiring too much of those that are interested in this product enough to buy it. It's $600. I think what you should have done is waited and give these two guys the final build. Give these two guys the final build of your cabinet. Don't call it an unboxing. Don't call it a first look or a second look or a kind of maybe. Boom. Give them the final version. And if you have to wait until October, or end of September for them to get their cabinets, that's what you should have done. That's exactly what you should have done. So that, their audience could see the final build. So they could see the actual cabinet itself. So they could see the real deal. And so that there is no confusion. And there is no, well, it's the legality, it's a technicality, it's subtlety, it's nuance, it's not actually a review. That's going to get lost, guys. It's going to get lost. It's going to get lost in the overall conversation, the bigger narrative, because they're going to see review and think a review. Listen, it's just the way it is. Your new audience just sees review, thinks review. There you go. That's it. That's it. So I think you've got if I had a pie chart of your hardcores that were probably going to buy this from the beginning, and when they saw that it was a different version, that percentage dropped. So you've lost some of those initial pre-orders, I think, because you have a different game. For better or for worse, you got a different version of the game. So we don't know 100% what we're in for. You gave us the specs. You gave us this is what you said you changed. Okay. We're trying to sort of mull that over, but your hardcore percentage of pre-orders has gone down because of the changes, for better or for worse. But you put your best foot forward, in my opinion, when you kick the whole thing off. So we're struggling with it. This new audience you're trying to reach is not getting a clear representation of your product. First looks happen in your office. When you bring CNET into your establishment and the cabinet's sitting there, it's built, it's sitting there, it's ready to go. It's obviously not ready for prime time. It's not shipped to somebody in a box, So you're going to have to forgive these people who think this is the final version, because it's not being made clear to your consumers. That's the most important thing. Not other YouTubers that want a cab, your consumers, the people that are going to buy your product, or you hoped are going to buy your product. They're getting conflicting information. They're not getting a clear view and accurate representation of the thing you're trying to sell them. And I think it's a damn shame, because you made a lot of good strides. You put your best foot forward. I think you made the best of a not ideal situation. And now you're muddying the waters. It's confusing. And when you have people that you're trying to capture, an audience you're trying to capture, they're already not engaged. And mixed messages and confusing, details, well, it's not going to hold their interest, and you're going to lose them also. Oh, Marvel versus Capcom 2. Why do you tempt me? Actually, let's pump the brakes. Target is to blame. Target is, here we go again. Oh, Target. So we got a lot of good comments in the chat. John, thank you. I'm not trying to be hateful. Legitimate concerns, brother. Legitimate concerns. But yeah, so I think that Target is just toying with my emotions. They're messing with me. They're messing with me. They're messing with you. What the hell? So we all know Marvel versus Capcom 2, one of the most highly anticipated games. I'm not talking about just arcade games. I'm talking about games. To have another release of Marvel versus Capcom 2 it's reverberating the entire industry wide. All gamers are looking at this release. That's why we're hearing some people say inside the company and outside the company, hey, you might want to dig in. You might want to go ahead and get ready and pre-order this thing, because you might not, I don't know. we tried to ramp up production, but it's tough to gauge enthusiasm. And I think that while Blitz is cool, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is going to be cooler. It's going to be potentially something hard to get your hands on. If you're, if you got kids and it's Christmas and they want this thing, they want their Turbo Man doll, and they're trying to get their hands on it, it reaches a fever pitch. You get nervous. The blood starts to boil. You get you get all tense, the adrenaline rush. You got to find that thing by Christmas. It's got to be under the tree. And Arnold Schwarzenegger did everything he could to get that Turbo Man doll. And if you've seen the movie, you know the struggles he went through, and it's a damn shame that he had to go through that. But listen, when it comes to your kids, you do what you got to do. So when you see something like this pop up, you see what would appear to be an early pre-order access. Early access is something that's going to be so difficult to get your hands on. You're going to freak out. You're going to jump on this immediately. You're going to be like this guy, and you're going to pre-order it immediately. Now, I was not the first one to see this, but I put this community post up. This was available, I think it was Friday, popped up really quick on Target as available to pre-order. Hell yes! Awesome. Boom. Click on it. My pre-order is in. Maybe your pre-orders. I think there's a lot of pre-orders in because now, I think maybe just a few hours later, maybe 6 hours later, it was gone. It was no longer available. But here you go. Pre-orders a full week before. I mean, that's great. Wow. I don't have to be a sucker and wait for RK1UP to bring it out because I got my good old buddy Target saving the day. Well, Target isn't necessarily known for reliability when it comes to RK1UP pre-orders, when it comes to RK1UP releases. We all remember this one from a year ago. Oh yeah. So RK1UP talked about X-Men, and if I hadn't built a 6-player X-Men, I would have bought this thing day one. But they were talking about $6.99, and we were struggling with the price. And what happened? Look at this Target coming up with the $100 price cut. They really want your dollar bills, yo. So they decided to go with $5.99. What they neglected to sort of realize is that was the wrong price. And those of you who got in on that pre-order realized that your pre-order wasn't going to hold, and it was actually canceled. But it wasn't canceled because they came out of the gate too early. It was canceled because of the price being freaking wrong, which is so damn sad. You talk about a lot of people excited, uber excited, thinking, wow, I'm going to get this deal and I'm going to use my red card and I'm going to do the thing and I'm going to save like 50 more percent or whatever. And I'm going to get this thing for a steal. That wasn't the case. Pre-orders were canceled. Emails went out. Hearts were broken around the world. And a moment of silence was observed for all those that thought they had greatness in their hands, and it slipped away. Okay, maybe not that dramatic, but you see what I'm saying. It was really frustrating. Those pre-orders were canceled, so now they had to shift and go somewhere else. Now, luckily, X-Men wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, it was a big deal to me and to other people who love that game, love that cabinet, but it wasn't the end of the world because you could go other places and find it. But Target's track record, for the most part, not the best at all. So now it's important to I called that on the side there. It's important to focus on the fact that the pre-orders were canceled because of the price, not because of the earliness of their pre-order. So why is that important? Well, we're talking about this. We're talking about an accurate price tag from a retailer that I'm sure was going to get Marvel vs. Capcom eventually. Maybe they weren't supposed to go live when they did. I'm almost 100% sure they weren't supposed to go live when they did, but they did, and it's not going to work out so well because while several pre-orders were actually put in, and they did sell out of their allotted pre-orders. If you go to your banking institution, your online banking, your PayPals, your whatever you tried to do to finance this bad boy because you were waiting, the second something drops, I'm going to get this thing. When you go to that institution to check on that transaction, you'll find that it is pending. It is not going through. It's sitting there. It's waiting. It's waiting. It's waiting. I've had $0 transferred from my account. It's just waiting, because I don't think it's going to happen. Now, I don't think that the Well, I don't think that it's going to be 100% canceled. And you're going to be asking yourself, hey, what should I do? If you've got your pre-order in like me, here is my advice to you. Don't do anything. Just hold off, wait, check your PayPal, check your bank. You don't really have to make a decision until the day before. 9/8 is the day, right? So 9/7, September 7th is when you really need to make a decision. You need to decide for yourself if you want to keep this pre-order at Target, or do you want to go ahead and cancel that and get ready for a pre-order somewhere else. I would suggest Arcade One Up is probably going to be the best way to go. So wait, you've got a little bit of time. Today is the 4th, so you've got 3 days to make up your mind, to really think about it, to look and see who else is going to maybe jump the gun. I mean, I don't think we're going to see that. I think we're probably going to see same day retailers. So you're going to see Best Buy probably come out with it the same day. They're probably going to toe that line. And as soon as they're allowed to do it, they're going to do it maybe a little bit early, but it's going to be the same day. So realistically, that's what we're going to see. We're going to see a bunch of retailers on the same day come out with it. What I think is going to happen with your pre-order at Target is they're going to process it on the 8th. That's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to take my pending pre-order that's sitting there with the wheel spinning, and they're going to process it on the 8th. That's what I think is going to happen. That's what I think is going to happen. So if you want to pre-order the cabinet, you've basically got your placeholder, is what I believe. Now, I don't know. I don't have any insider information. I'm not a Target executive or representative, but I think that that's where we're at. Probably what's going to happen is you leave your pre-order as it is, and then on the 8th, you'll see that pending switch to processed, and you should be good to go. So in a way, you've got your pre-order. Let me air quotes this, locked. You've got a pre-order saved. Is my theory. Now, when it comes to the 7th and you're waffling back and forth and you're just not sure and you don't have unlimited funds, you can't leave this pre-order in place and then do another pre-order. You're not trying to spend $1,200 on one cabinet and you've just got one. I think on the 7th, you really got to think about it. Do you want to take the chance, run the risk of Target canceling your pre-order? Because while I think that's not going to happen, I think it's still a possibility. Target could, between now and then, cancel those pre-orders. Now, I hope they do it before the 8th, because if the thing is this, you wait till the 7th, you don't do anything. You sit there, you wait. Every day you check to see, is it pending? What's it doing? If they cancel it between now and then, well, then your decision is made for you. You're good. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, well, they canceled the pre-order. Now I'm exactly in the same boat that I was in before this. I'm just waiting for the pre-orders to drop. RK1UP's probably going to do it early. You're going to have access because of the emails, that you signed up for, using multiple email accounts. Not saying I did that, but I did that. Wanted to make sure I get that notification just as soon as possible. So you're right back in the same situation you were in. But if the 7th comes and it's still pending, that's the crucial point. Are you going to take the chance that you wake up on the 8th and Target, instead of processing your pre-order, cancels it, and now you got to start over? But now pre-orders are live, and oh my God, now I'm behind the 8 ball. Now I'm freaking out because I'm not going to get this, because it's probably going to sell out pretty quick. What do you do? That's why I think on the 7th, you got to decide for yourself. If they cancel your pre-order, they've made your decision for you. You're good. You're golden. If it's still there, you have to decide for yourself. Am I going to sit here and play Russian roulette with my pre-order? Am I going to run the risk of them maybe canceling it tomorrow and I've got to scramble? Or do I go ahead, bite the bullet, cancel it myself, and then get ready to pre-order that from RK1UP, Best Buy, whoever else, or maybe go back to Target? I don't really know. So far, this is what I'm doing. I'm keeping it as it is. It's going to stay there. And I will make my decision on the 7th. I'll see where we're at. I'm going to take my own advice here and do that. That's where I'm at. So it's not fun. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. It's not fun. It should be fun just to wait. Pre-order comes out, boom. And then we just pre-order our cabinet and everything's fine. And all we have to do is wait for our pre-order to show up. That's what it should be. But unfortunately, what we're dealing with is something a little bit different. And you got to decide for yourself. Are you gonna run the risk? You take the chance? Are you gonna maybe pre-order from another location? Which is also something I don't want to forget. I don't want to leave out. I guess it's possible you could leave your pre-order in place, and then on the 8th pre-order from somebody else. And then whichever shoe falls first, you cancel the other one. That's up to you. Do you want that much money in the air, though? Depending on your transaction type, you're going to have a lot of money maybe tied up in a single cabinet. And, unless you're Daddy Warbucks, $1,200 is a lot of money. What'd you look at that?
What the hell?
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up.
Okay, so let's wrap this up by checking out the poll. We're going to start up here. So the question, it was a simple question, but it had a big impact. And here's the question. When purchasing a new cabinet, how much do reviews factor in to that decision? Okay, you've got a bunch of different options here, 75, 50, 25, and 0%. I don't really give a rip about reviews. I'm going to go ahead and close this poll down. 174 votes. You got a real quick opportunity here. Go ahead and vote. I'm going to close it now. And at 39%, I'm seeing 50%. I'm sorry, 38%. It's close. It's close. 38% is 50 is 50% of your decision making is based on reviews. So they account for half of your purchase decision making, right? A close second at 37% was 75% or 3/4. It's not something that anybody poo-poos completely. It seems to be that the majority of my audience at 172 votes, a vast majority, consider it very important, or at least it makes up half of the decision-making process when it comes to making that purchase. That's a big deal. So that's why I go back and I focus on the review. The products going out there have got to accurately represent the product that's going to be available for purchase. And if it's a first look, it needs to be done in a very coordinated, very strategic way. It's got to be very controlled. You can't just have first look, I don't know, and hope that the guy says first look, or hope that the guy says, it's an early build. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Is it a review? Is it not a review? Who knows? It's confusing. It needs to be streamlined, because reviews, as you know, noted in this poll, really, really matter. So that's what I got to say about that. What's everybody saying in the chat? What is going on, everybody? So I also wanted to look forward to next week and talk about what I'm doing next week. Next weekend in particular is going to be really, really fun. So I am home tomorrow, flying out Tuesday to Spokane, Washington. I'm going to be there for just 3 days. And Thursday, I'm flying back. When I get home, I'm going to jump in the truck and I'm going up to Chicago to hang out with some other YouTubers. We're going to have some shenanigans, or we're going to get carried away. Most likely, we're going to get into some trouble. Absolutely. We're going to check out a lot of different arcades and bars. It's going to be just a ton of fun. So what are we talking about? What can I share with you as far as what are we going to be doing? So Thursday night, we're all going to get together, just me and the other YouTubers, have something to eat, probably go to bed early, because Friday kicks things off for us for the most part. We've got B from Kongs R Us. He's going to take care of us. He's got our days planned to the minute, from what I assume. There was a spreadsheet involved. It was very complicated, but we're going to see just a ton. We're going to see a ton of stuff. Some really cool. There's this one arcade / bar with a bunch of pinballs that has the DeLorean from Back to the Future coming out the freaking wall. We just saw that one picture. We're like, okay, yep, got it. Absolutely got it. So that's going to be Friday. A lot of that, a lot of arcades. Pay attention to our social media. Mine, Justin and Console Kits, P-Dubs, Patrick with P-Dubs, P-Dubs Arcade Loft. You got Michael B, the Game Genie. You're going to have B, Kongs R Us. Us 5 guys are going to be updating you as far as where we're going to be at what time. If you want to come hang out with us on Friday, that's what we're going to be doing. Will we be intoxicated? Most likely. The beginning of the day, not so much, but as the day progresses, there will be alcohol consumed. Our attention levels, our ability to sort of comprehend details is going to get worse over time. And by the end of the day, if we run into you, you're going to have to be kind. You're going to have to be you're going to have to be understanding because we're getting together. We're having a lot of fun. We're going to have a few drinks. So that's going to be Friday. Now, Saturday is the Game and Brew, II Arcade's Game and Brew. That's going to kick off at 5 p.m. It's going to last until 10. They say with the potential for after hours fun. That's going to be at their headquarters in Skokie, Illinois. If you're part of that list, if you've made the cut, if you've registered with them, you're going to be able to be at the Game and Brew, and you're going to be able to see me and all the other guys at 5 o'clock for that. We're going to be there for at least the 5 hours. Are we going to be streaming? Absolutely. I'm going to be streaming. Everybody else is going to be streaming. We think potentially it's possible. Maybe. I have no idea. iArcade could come out with some kind of announcement. Something. Maybe it's a new cabinet skin. Maybe it's a cup holder for the arcades that they currently build. Maybe it's a new game. Or maybe it's, an anti-fatigue mat. We can only speculate at this point. So it's going to be interesting. So pay attention to our social medias. Make sure you hit notification bells on all of our channels so you can see when we're going to be live streaming. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be chaotic, but I can't wait to get in there and to hang out with these guys. But I can't wait to actually meet a lot of you and hang out and hear your stories about your love for arcades, your love for this hobby, whether it's iArcade, whether it's Arcade 1-Up, whether it's full-size arcades, at games, you name it. It's going to be fun just to have some good conversation and meet a bunch of fellow nerds and geeks that are into this community, because you are the ones that make this community possible. You are the ones that keep guys like me and the other YouTubers and the gals like She Lion. You keep us going. Being in the chat. And I'm not just talking about super chat. I'm talking about just being there and commenting and subscribing. That support means the world to us. And hopefully, my hope is this, that I'm giving a voice to you, and your voice in some way, your opinions in some way are being expressed on this channel so that it's getting out there, so that other people can hear it. And maybe even these companies that you support can also hear it and maybe change a little bit in some way, change what they're doing to better suit us, the hardcores, the original fans, the ones that really, really care about this hobby. And, we pay their bills. We keep the lights on. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with me, stopping by, checking out the channel. Subscribe to me on this channel. Make sure you check out my Instagram, my Twitter, and I will update everybody as far as where I'm going to be. It's going to be chaotic, but listen, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. If you're in the Chicago area, please don't be intimidated. Hit me up. Let me know. And if I have the means, the ability to swing by and say hi to you, I want to do that. Legit. Because I think that it'd be a damn shame to miss that opportunity to hang out with you. But anyway, I've gone an hour. Thank you so much for stopping by, checking out this channel. Y'all all have a blessed day. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend, and I will see you next time. Peace.